Hey guys, what's up? And today I am doing a Pixar ranking video. I wanted to sit and do this the other day just because I saw the Super Carlin Brothers version that they did. They basically sat down, ranked all the films, put them in order that they preferred them in, and I wanted to give it a go myself. So I have got 17 films on my list. I haven't included the recent release of Cars 3 because I have not seen it, so it's not fair to rank something I've not seen. So I'm just going from the 17 films I have seen, which is the rest of the Pixar films. So let's get cracking. So number 17, I have Cars 2. Cars 2 has been known for quite a long time to be one of the worst Pixar films that they've created, and I think it's just because it's so over the top. I don't particularly enjoy the whole spy aspect of it. I just preferred the first Cars a lot more. There was a lot more of a sort of solid storyline to it, and it just, I don't know, you saw the story of Lightning McQueen, whereas Cars 2 it just wasn't as good. I just didn't enjoy it. Number 16, I have A Bug's Life. I picked A Bug's Life just for number 16 purely because I saw, that was like the first Pixar film I saw at the cinema. I remember going to see it and we were right at the front. And it was good back then, but now since then there's been other films that have come out that are just a lot better. And I don't know, it's not like, if I was to put a Pixar film on, it's not one I'd go for first. So that's the only reason why that one's lower down. And again, it's not because it's a bad film, it's just there's some more that are a bit better. So at number 15, I have the original Cars. I really loved this film just because I love Owen Wilson's the voice of Lightning McQueen. I think that's just pretty cool anyway. But I like the fact that you saw him realise that actually there's more to life than just racing. And I liked that about that film. And, you know, when he's in such a rush to, like, you know, tarmac the road so he can just get on and do what he wants, and he just messes it all up. And then he actually realises that sometimes it's just nice to be people and, you know, to just appreciate things a little bit more. So I like that about that film. Number 14, I have Brave. I didn't enjoy this one as much, which is a shame because it's set in Scotland, which is one of the most lovely places in the world apparently. You know, I've not been, and I loved it. I loved the accents because Scottish people are awesome, and I loved Merida as a character. I thought that was great, but when I first sat down to watch it, it wasn't the film I was expecting to see, so that's the only reason why that one's a bit further down. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting more than anything else. Number 13 is Ratatouille. I find this film just really entertaining and really funny to watch, and it's just interesting to see the world from a rat's perspective who loves food, and I quite enjoy that. And I just love the fact that this rat is better at cooking than I am better at cooking, so I just thought that was quite funny really. And my sister used to have the Wii game as well, and that was pretty cool too. So Ratatouille is one of the more awesome films, I thought it was really cool. Number 12, I have Up. I love Up, but not as much as other Disney films, other Pixar films. And that's because the only reason I love it so much is because of the 10-minute sequence at the start with Carl and Ellie. That's the main reason I love Up. The rest of the film I don't like as much, so that's why it's a bit further down in the list. But that whole heart-stringing bit at the start of the film, you've got to love it. Number 11, we have The Incredibles. Now this is a film that you can put on over and over and over again and not really get bored of it, which is why I quite like it, because it's a no-brainer film. Like, if you had a selection of Pixar films, you know that if you put that on, you'd still enjoy it as much as you did the first time you watched it. So I love The Incredibles, and I'm looking forward to the second film. It's going to be so cool. I'm really looking forward to that and how they're going to do that. Number 10, I had Toy Story 3. Now I put Toy Story 3 a bit lower, which is weird because whenever I've seen people rank these films, Toy Story 3 has been quite up there with the 3, because as the Toy Story films have gone on, they've got better and better. And it's not because I don't think it's a good film. It's a brilliant film. I love the story. I love the fact that Andy's grown up and they've just carried on with this whole thing with the toys, and the fact that the toys are still wanting to be a part of Andy's life, and they're desperate to get back to him, and actually, you know, it's all a mistake, and actually they've just been donated. So I find that whole storyline really sweet, but I love the transition of the fact that they then get passed over to someone else and they still get to get played with, and it's great. So I do love that film. I like the other ones. They've got so much more meaning to me as part of like childhood and things. So number 9 is Monsters University. I thought this was actually a really good sequel to the first one. I really enjoyed it. It was really good fun. And at the time when it came out, I was at university. So that was probably why I enjoyed it so much, because there are little things that I could relate to a little bit, so that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. But it was a really good film, really funny, really good jokes, and it was nice to see their relationship and how Mike and Sully actually become good friends, so I did love that. Next up is number 8 is Finding Dory. I loved Finding Dory. I thought, again, that was a brilliant sequel. Some of the CGI got changed a little bit, wasn't too keen on that, preferred the original in comparison personally, but the storyline was great. I love the sequence with the shells. I thought that was just adorable, and it did make me cry at the cinema, I'm not gonna lie. So it was kind of awkward crying at a Pixar film in front of lots of people, but it's such a good film. It's so much fun, and again, it's touching. It's like a touching film, you know, you get that whole reminiscence of Dory's life before she met Marlin and Nemo, so I love that. Speaking of Nemo, number 7 is Finding Nemo. I love Finding Nemo. The only reason why it's just a bit lower down is because I think it has been overplayed a little bit. That's only because when Finding Nemo came out, Nemo fish became super popular. And another reason why it's a bit further down is because I have Nemo and Dory tattooed on my ankle, so I'm saying that it's overplayed. I've got it tattooed on my body as well. As much as I love it, I think it's a brilliant film, and again, I think it was one of the first Pixar films I really remember going to watch as well. So I completely adore it. It's just got a lot of childhood memories attached to it, and I've not got any kids, but any parent who has kids knows how it feels to have their child lost. So I feel for them, and that's why I love it so much. I think is just the fact that this father who's lost everything will do anything to get his son back, and that's just a lovely story. So I love Finding Nemo. I apologise, I'm burping, excuse me. Number 6, we have Toy Story, the original Toy Story. Now, this was on a television like about a week ago, and I haven't watched it in years, and I realised actually how much I love it. It's such a good film. Again, I remember watching this as a kid. I had it on video. That's how long ago it's been. It was on video, and it was from there on in, you thought your toys were like real. Like you thought that your toys were like Woody and Buzz, like they moved around, and I used to try and catch them out. In case they moved. So it's just got, again, so much childhood behind it. I was a huge Disney fan as a kid, so Toy Story is one of those films that, again, you know, I can put it on and I know I'll enjoy it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, that's the way it is. Next up at number 5, we have Toy Story 2. Now, I loved Toy Story, and I loved Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 2 gets to me every time when Jessie is talking about Emily and the song that she sings, and it breaks my heart every time. And I just love the fact that there's more characters in line with Woody. You know, it's from Woody's Roundup, and that's how he's got all these other friends and stuff, and he wasn't even aware of it. And the fact as well that all the other toys try and rescue him, like the fact that they go that far to try and rescue him. There's also loads of puns, which I think is really cool. The whole Star Wars reference in there is so cool. And again, I remember going to watch this at the cinema with my dad. I'm sure it was with my dad anyway. And I came out the cinema and I'd really enjoyed it. So that is why Toy Story 2, out of all the 3 Toy Story films, is at the top. It's just, I really loved it. Number 4 is Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. again, remember going to see it at the cinema. Had it on video for quite a long time. Haven't got it on DVD anymore, so I need to go and get that. I have Monsters University on DVD, but not Monsters, Inc. And again, it's just imagination blown up into a Pixar film. I love it. It's the fact that everybody thought for a long time that you had a monster in your closet, and then Pixar went and made a film out of it, and it's a brilliant film. A no-brainer. You can put it on. You'd enjoy it every time you watch it. That's why I love it so much. Number 3 is Inside Out. I adored this film. The idea behind it was just amazing. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the cinema and watch it, which was a shame, but as soon as it came out on DVD and came out on Sky and stuff, I sat and watched it and I loved it. I love the fact that all of the emotions are different people. I think that's just such a cool little thing, and the fact that at the end of the film as well, you see different people with their different emotions inside their heads. That's just such a cool film. I love the fact that there's that whole aspect of the fact that they need to, you know, that Riley is going through an emotional time and her emotions are being kind of tainted by a little bit of sadness because those feelings now, like, you know, those memories hurt a little bit now because she's not where she wants to be. And I think if they ever do a sequel, which they should, and I hope they are going to do a sequel, it will be a brilliant, because they've got this whole premises now where, like, they've got these emotions, and seeing Riley go through puberty and all those emotions go nuts would just be such a cool sequel. So I loved Inside Out. I want them to make a sequel, and I love Bing Bong. So number 2 is The Good Dinosaur. Now, I wasn't sure about this film when it first came out, and when we first sat and watched it, I wasn't quite sure about it, but the scenery in it is such a good thing. I mean, oh my god, it's so pretty. It's such a pretty backdrop for the whole film, and the fact that there is a dinosaur that can talk but the child in the film can't is just so cool. I love the fact that with Pixar, sometimes they can produce a film where you don't need very much conversation for it to still be a brilliant film. So I love that about it, and it's just lovely to see that, you know, this whole thing about a dinosaur who's lost and he's just trying to get back home, and he comes across all these problems and he still tries it. It's just such a lovely, you know, backdrop for a film, and I really loved it. So I remember my sister had that on DVD for Christmas. We sat and watched it, and, you know, I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't quite sure what it was about really, and I just ended up loving it. And for those of you that know Pixar really well, you will know what comes next. So number 1, I have WALL-E. And WALL-E is my favourite film for a number of reasons. Now, for a long time I wasn't mad keen on it, and it's because there's not much dialogue in it. But actually, the fact that there's not much dialogue in it makes it a brilliant film, because you have to concentrate, and actually you find a lot more beauty in the film when there's not dialogue, which I think is great. The fact that there are 2 robots who, technically, robots haven't got any emotions, somehow gain emotions and fall in love. What? It's just such a good film. I've watched it on repeat now for like 3 or 4 days, and I'm not bored of it. And that, for me, is a sign of a really good film. You know, I can sit and watch WALL-E and it's still funny. Like, it's just still funny. There's scenes where Eve, you know, shoots something and WALL-E is just trembling in the corner, and it's hilarious because he's got a personality, and so is Eve. They make each other laugh. There's that whole dancing scene. One of my favourite little bits as well is when he's attached himself to the little rocket ship that's going back up to the Axiom, and he sees the stars and he's like, Eve, look! And oh, it's such a lovely film, and I do think it reflects a little bit about what our society might end up doing in the future, which I hope they don't. I hope nobody sits on hover chairs and gets really fat and eats everything out of a cup. But I love the idea and the creativity behind that whole backdrop for that story. I think it's so cool. The music in it is brilliant as well. I love the songs. I love the fact that it's for like sort of vintagey songs. He's obviously found cassette tapes, sat and watched things. It's such a lovely film, so that's why WALL-E is number 1 for me. So feel free to do this tag yourselves. I will stick the info down below, or drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought, and you know, I challenge you to do this video. You know, if you love Pixar movies, then rank them yourselves. I had a piece of paper, and the entire time I was trying to rank these, I ended up having to rewrite the list about 6 times because I couldn't decide what order to put them in, and I finally set on the list I have now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.